Hello all and welcome back to the Walrus Plays, our lovely playthrough of the Settlers 2 Gold Edition playthrough. We are now on Mission 6, and this is going to be an interesting one because we are fighting against the Vikings again. Now, what I am doing is I've made a slight modification to the way that the gameplay is done, so you can probably see that everything is running a lot faster, and that is because I have decided that it makes more sense to me to run the video itself at a 1.5 times speed, because of course, as you can probably see, the game takes quite a long time to play. So in the interests of not having 6-hour-long videos, which, yes, they do have a time and a place, it is more beneficial to me to do high-speed videos like this. We will be doing more, of course, as we go through, but we need to get ourselves established, and we need to get ourselves established fast, because unlike previous missions, where the enemies that we fight against are... I'm trying to think of the best way of putting it. They are allied to us, but they are sort of hostile. They're not like aggressively, they're not going to try and invade your territory. This one, no. The enemy is actively hostile to you, but allied to one another. So, we have a slight complexity here. Now you can also see, if you look to the south of the map, well, the southern part of this island that we're on, there is an opportunity to build a harbour. And this is going to be one of a potentially important... Well, I say potentially. It's going to make a large, important part of it. It's one of the things that I do really... Oh, goodness, the emergency program has been activated. That's only happens when you don't have an active sawmill or a woodcutter. And it gives you some extra bonuses, essentially just to... You don't have the ability to make these. What are you doing, you mentalist? However... I had built them, they just weren't occupied, so I wasn't quite as concerned there. So it does happen. Obviously, I went hard in this start, as you can tell. As I said, we need to go hard on this one. We need to be as quick as physically possible for this early game playthrough. I'm going to build myself a sawmill here. I don't know if I can get that woodcutter connected on the right there. But like I was saying, because we can get ships on this one, we need to be able to sail out and conquer the world. But the problem comes is that, of course, the way that ships work in this, because they are a little bit unreliable. If I had a bit more control over what was being ferried to and fro, that would be great. Unfortunately, it's not the case. We don't have the control, we don't have the ability, and it really does maybe not drive me nuts, but it does a little bit frustrating. But at the same time, we do still have the ability to do what we need to do here, and that is take over the territories in front of us. So, what we're going to try and do, we're going to do our best for this, is we are going to try and expand as rapidly as possible. Now, I'm using the barracks as kind of usual as my launch point ones, because they don't require stone, they're built very quickly, and they're good to just get down. Once we start getting a little bit closer to the enemy territory, we are going to start building the heavier buildings, so fortresses, watchtowers. Guardhouses aren't even going to be acceptable. It needs to be big, and we need a lot of troops, because you can probably tell we do not have that easy access to gold at the moment. Hopefully we will do as we explore and find some mountains, but I'm also hoping that as we use the boats, we can use those to actively find more iron, more gold, and other very useful, important resources that we don't easily have a huge amount of access to at this exact moment in time. We do, however, have a large access to stone, so considering our playthrough against the Japanese, I think we're going to end up using catapults quite heavily again. Maybe not in the same sort of degree as we had to against the Japanese, where we were so horrendously outclassed by the Japanese. We had no hope in heck. So we did kind of we had no choice in the matter. So let's see how well we can do with this selection of stuff. So you can see that I've already built myself a farm. We're going to need a few more of them, of course. Now, again, it's one of the things that as an adult playing through, I've realised that when I was a kid, I would build maybe 1, 2 farms, which was not a good way of doing it, because 1 or 2 farms just isn't enough. You need more. I mean, duh. That's how this game works. You can't just rely on a singular building to provide every resource that you need access to. So you need redundancies. Now, yes, I'm a little bit loath to build 5 or 6 slaughterhouses, because of course we still need a tool requirement for that. But that doesn't mean that we don't want multiple farms, multiple pig farms. Yeah, I do want to have maybe a couple of slaughterhouses, because we still also want to be able to move the resources that we need closer to the areas that require them. So, for example, we want to have more food production closer to a storehouse or a dock that is near to the mines. Again, it makes sense, right? Well, it makes sense to me, at least. So that's kind of the big quandary, is how are we going to do that the best way that we can? Now, again, I would like to get some boats going on, like some small boats, not just the ships, because I just quite enjoy having the little ferry routes. Yeah, okay, it's maybe not the most effective of things, but I don't mind. It's fun, and I like them. I like having the boats. They make me happy. There's just something about boats. I don't know why. It just does. Now, in the same regard, once I've played through all of Settlers 2 Gold Edition, what I'm planning on doing as well is actually playing through some Settlers 3. I may also even go back and play Settlers 1. Now, I've never actually played Settlers 1. My brother was the one who owned it, but I did not. So, I've not had that joy, essentially. So, we will have to see who gets access to that. I mean, I think it might be quite fun playing that one through, especially because there will be some features that aren't in 1 that are in 2. So we may end up with a few things that we go, I wish this was here. And in the same way, I don't want to go like to 3 and then back to 1 in the same sort of sense, because the quality of life features, as of course you progress through the editions, will get, of course, steadily better. And we don't want to struggle. Which, you know, that makes sense, right? I mean, I can't be the only one who's going, duh. I mean, hopefully I'm not the only one who's going, well, duh. So, let's see what we can find as we plot our way through. Now, I'm using fish quite heavily. I find fish is a very good early game food resource to get, because it doesn't require a huge amount. It's just 2 wood. That's it. 2 trees to cut down. And then you can get sufficient food to kind of begin with. And it starts giving us that early game stockpile. I haven't decided what I'm going to use the current farm for. I'm thinking maybe a brewery, but we'll probably end up getting a donkey breeder, because the donkeys are so handy. And I've learned that from the bottlenecks that we've had in the past, if we don't have them, well, we're a bit stuffed, which is a potentially like a weird thing to kind of say, but yeah, the bottlenecks that we end up generating are a nightmare. And it's very, very, very important for us to actually have a decent quantity of donkeys very much early game. It gives us a big advantage. And I think that's reasonably understandable in its importance. So, I'm going to build another farm here because we're clearing out this large quantity of stone. I mean, that's going to be a constant here, is we're going to be clearing out stone, and then therefore we will be getting access to more. Because we want more land, but again, in the same regard, I'm going to build a bunch of these sawmills because it's very sensible for me to do so, because I want to be able to have maybe 3 or 4 sawmills right off the bat. Definitely more than that. We definitely need more. I mean, a given, really, isn't it? Because the more sawmills we have, the better we can produce lumber early on, and that'll give us a decent chunk of what we need. So I'm going to need to clear out a lot more of this area here. So we are building our first harbour building. Once that's constructed, we will start building a shipyard as well. I mean, we've got the ground is laid for it, just it hasn't been started yet. And once that's kind of going, I may even actually pause it for the moment, just because I want to make sure I do have enough wood, because we are putting in a greater demand for wood than we kind of are producing at this moment in time. That will change very rapidly, because of course we built 2 lumberjacks, 2 woodcutters that is, for every forester and for every sawmill. So we're building 4 buildings to provide a continuous amount of wood, and I think that's my personal methodology for it, but that doesn't mean that it's guaranteed that's the best way of doing so, but it's what I found that works in gameplay terms. Of course, you do want to have far more wood than well, you don't want to have a negative stock, a lack of it, because without wood you can't generate your buildings and you can't really get going, because there are no buildings that only require stone as far as I'm aware. They all do require some wood, so duh, we need some of that, thank you please. So make sure that you have that. Right, let's have a quick look. So it looks like our 2 woodcutters they're in a bit of a, not really problem, they're in a bit of a slight deficit, because of course they've hit we've got no trees, mate, what do you want us to do? Which is fine, we've got the foresters going. And again, one of the other things that I'm quite pleased about is I've remembered that there is the MIDI file menu and also the CD music menu. I mentioned it in the past, but it is nice to remember. There was I'm pretty sure the music was, better than just a MIDI file. But I think only the MIDI only worked on, the MIDI worked on the DOS version, because the DOS playthrough could not support the CD music, which is one of those old joys of old computers and stuff. And I think that's one of the things that kind of makes me laugh a bit about actually playing old games like this, is remembering the weird and wonderful ways that we would struggle through playing some games. And part of that is actually even playing games like, oh my goodness, Command & Conquer, Red Alert, where, again, I remember installing it through Windows for the first time, through Windows 95, rather than installing it on my Windows 3.1 machine. Oh my goodness, it was such a radical difference. And I know it sounds very stupid, but the power that Windows 95 gave you over Windows 3.1 and DOS, it was just phenomenal. It was genuinely insane. Made absolutely no sense, and I loved it. But, hey, that's just the joys that we had at the time. And I think that's, well, reasonable. And I wouldn't say sensible, but that's just the way it was. Okay, so we are building these barracks here, and a woodcutter. Okay, so we can burn that quarry down. Can we rebuild that? Yeah, I think we can rebuild that route. So let's wait until Muggins here has dumped off that water and that fish. Okay, I think we might need to redo that slightly, because we want to make sure that we can get a slightly better way across. You know, again, just improving the efficiency of our road networks. It's very important. We want to have efficient road networks. I think that's a sensible requirement, right? I mean, I assume that's a sensible requirement. I'm not very good at city planner games. Like, I tried playing City Skylines actually reasonably recently, and oh my goodness gracious me, I sucked at it. Which is kind of bad, because I very much enjoyed playing older games like Transport Tycoon Deluxe. I might even have to crack that bad boy out, because that's a game that I was surprised that there is still a community about for it, and like a large community for it. Now the trouble is, I've never learned how to use the signals properly, but I'm going to try and learn at some point. I may even do some videos of me struggling and crying repeatedly, going, I don't understand this, whilst of course I'm going to continue playing through this. So, before I get too sidelined and actually talking about a completely different game, because I should probably kind of stay on track with what we're doing here, in the settlers too. Now, once I've cleared out all of that stone to the left, it would be a very sensible idea for me to build more farms. Now, this is where we want to build our fortresses, because this is, if memory serves, this is the mountain range that is where the enemy starts really coming in force from. And we need to get rid of them, because we do not want the enemy to come through and give me a kicking. Now, we've got the reds and the yellows. Now, I don't think the reds are the ones who hold the gate. I think the yellows are the ones that hold the gate. But the reds are slightly closer to us. So they're the ones who are going to be coming along and generally being antagonistic to us and to our efforts. I'm going to build a barracks as well, just to see if I can push a little bit further so we can get a little bit of a larger, a better area, so we can put 2 fortresses or maybe a fortress and watchtower down. So I just want to have better layouts. That's really the big thing I'm looking at here. So we've got iron. Iron is very important, of course, I'm sure you can imagine. So we're going to need to get a few iron mines on the go, and then some smelters, and oh, goodness gracious. You can already see, as I mentioned, about needing the donkeys. It's a very important thing, and I think it's something that people do tend to overlook, especially in especially when I was younger. Watching my brother play through, he would always neglect the donkeys, which is a funny thing to kind of say out loud. But when you neglect having the donkeys as a thing in your empire, it does you no favours. You need donkeys. They are there, and they are very, very, very useful. So, So we've got a little bit of land down to the south here. So this area of woodland, we will be cutting that down, shockingly enough. And once we cut it down and cut through it all, we will be in the enemy lands, methinks. So this is where it's all going to start heating up, something fierce. Okay. So, our first boat is almost ready. That's excellent news. I love it when things like that sort of happen, which is great, because we need desperately the boats, because the boats are going to give us the ability to cross over to the enemy lands through an alternate route, but also they're going to give us access to other areas that we can expand into and use that as a launch pad for other things of general benefit. So what I mean by that is, of course, we will get access to more territory. With more territory, we can get, shockingly enough, more resources. And because the enemy doesn't use boats, this is the big thing. They don't really build ships. They don't come over and try and rummage your territory. It's just you who does that. You're quite safe. On islands, you're very safe. The enemy can't come and get you, which is great. Never upset about being on an island, because the enemy is essentially just stuffed, which is fine. We don't have to worry about it. But it does mean that you then are beholden, unfortunately, to the logistics network of your boats and how dumb they are. Because one of the things I would love to be able to do is to list something as an export item and say, I would like to have this go out and actually be picked up, please, and then ferried back and forth and, stuff and things, because that would make life easy. But as we know, older games can't always handle that as a concept. So, it's fine, we'll live. Now, what we're going to do next is we are going to build a bunch of coal mines. Now, we're going to build this guardhouse here to try to expand a bit further. Now, we've not seen the enemy territory, so this is where I am being a little bit complacent. I'm aware that they are in this general area. I know that they're there. But I'm using my own ego a little bit here and saying, I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be able to build my territory out and have enough land kind of spare, so I can actually start building the bigger fortifications. And that's really the big trick here, is I need the heavy, big fortifications of the fortress, and I need the watchtowers. They are going to be our linchpin, because we need to be able to have lots of elite troops on their borders, otherwise we are in so very much trouble. And that's the big problem we've got here, is that we need to be able to push through and fingers bloody crossed. Oh, now, let's see if... Okay, so we are settling up a... so I'm just trying to shuffle the music a little bit possibly there. We are setting up a slight problem, potentially. So we are sending out a harbour expedition, and the trouble is sometimes you'll land on an island and it might have maybe 2 landing locations that are viable for it. And the problem is that one of them is viable, it'll build the harbour, but then you can't actually build any bloody else. And then you're kind of rummaged because you can't land near it. I think there's a sort of like a radius proximity that the game says, oh, you can't land another boats there, so I'd have to burn it to the ground, and that's a bit of a waste, which is a shame. But we're heading off on our first expedition. Let's see what we can find. Hopefully we can find some good land. Hopefully something like an island covered in gold mines. That'd be really nice. Not only would it be really nice, it would be blooming beneficial. And very much favourable to me. So, let's see. What have we got? Yeah. So we're going to build here, and we are going to get building. We're going to need a woodcutter, and we're going to need a barracks. We're going to need a fishery. We're going to need a sawmill. I saved for a moment. I should do that. I mean, it's nice that it does say, you haven't saved, you probably want to do that, matey boy. But all the same. Right. Let's see if we can get something slightly better out of this. Now. Okay, we've got our slaughterhouse on the build, because we are going to be building, we've got that pig farm kind of on the go. We've got all this food resource. As I kind of mentioned, we're going to be using food resources in this area to kind of work out for us well. And that's kind of the big thing, is actually being able to use all of our food resources in a sensible, positive way, I guess. So, we will give it a good hard go. Right, so the slaughterhouse is slowly but surely getting there, as is that other farm. We've got lots of farms. I think I'm going to need another metal worker, aren't I? The tool workers, of course, they're blooming useful. You need them just generally because, duh. Because without the metal workers, you can't get more tools. I know, it's terrible. And without that, then we're a bit stuffed because we can't get more mining picks, we can't get more hammers, all the tools in general. But again, it's something that I generally, when I was younger, as a child playing through this, didn't look on as favourably, going, but I can't, without the metal, like, if I use the metal, I can make swords, and I can make swords and shields, and I can use that to beat enemies to death. I was thinking very much more militarily, rather than on a kind of a holistic level of going, actually, I kind of need to have a full impact on this. So we've got our ship, the Neptune, pooling off down again, seeing what else it can find. Something useful, because we want to, again, land on more islands, we want to settle them, and we want to get more stuff. We don't want to be there because that's next to the red territory and we just get instantly attacked as soon as you build a military building. But the trouble is, of course, we could just not build a military building, but then it would just get crushed as the expansion happens, because that's kind of how this always ends up going. So I still need more donkeys again. So we're not doing so great on that donkey front, aren't we? That's a little pickle. Oh well, that's fine. So we're going to keep sailing around. At least we're using the boat to essentially explore for us. So that's very handy. And the thing is, playing with these boats here is kind of reminding me of another game that I would like to play as well for Nostalgia Sundays. So again, Nostalgia Sundays is one of those projects that I started on early this year, and I thought it would be a good laugh to try and do, because it gives me an opportunity to play through older games that I've either not completed or completed so long ago I've kind of forgotten everything about them, and I would like to try and achieve victory. The problem I've got is a lot of those games don't work on my current machine. So yes, I am going to have to build a DOS box Windows 95, Windows 98 machine. So that's going to be interesting, because there are these certain limitations that come with those. Yes, I could use SD memory cards as a form of hard disk swapping, which which are kind of good. But I also do need to be aware now. I think this might be a good island. Can I? I can't. Oh no, I can't even connect. Well, that's annoying. So there was me saying about sometimes you'll find an island where you can't actually build anything off of it, and lo and bloody behold, there's one of those damn islands. It's a shame because, of course, any island that has some stone on it will typically pay for itself and some, which is kind of what I'm after, is being able to pay for the expansion of it, because I'm going to need more stone. It's just a given. We're always going to need more stone, like duh. But oh well, that is the way of the world. Let's see if we can do a little bit better with this next boat going out and about. It is a shame though, but at least we did find the enemy territory, of the southern parts of the enemy territory, which is still useful to know at least. Now, so we've got a fortress under construction. We've got a guardhouse with 1 soldier in it. Now, the barracks itself, that won't be a problem. But that guardhouse is the risk factor here. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, essentially that guardhouses aren't the acceptable solution. And I went and built a guardhouse, which was essentially spoiling my own concept there. But I was feeling a little greedy because I wanted to build a fortress, but I want to find a decent plot of land to build a fortress in that gives me enough control over the area, as well as being able to rebuild quickly. Which, unfortunately, fortresses are bloody not built fast. They are a slow burn construction. But once we've got it, we're in a good place. Now, let's see if we can do a little bit better, shall we? I'm going to build a mint because we're going to need one. Again, kind of a given. We need a mint because we are wanting better soldiers. Because better soldiers means better combat efficiency and generally combat effectiveness. So we've got lots of stone up here, so we're going to go and abuse the stone thoroughly. But as well as that, we are going to use this large quantity of land probably to build some more farms. Because again, we're near where we've got some mines and we're going to want to be able to throw food in there ASAP. Now, I probably should get a storehouse in this vicinity as well. And that's something we don't have yet. It's right here. The only other storehouse we have is our harbour building, which is good. It's a start, but we need more. And I think that's a given. So they've got a guardhouse being built. I don't know if we're going to get our fortress out in time. That concerns me somewhat. Fiddlesticks. That's the nicest way of putting it. Fiddlesticks indeed. I'm dubious of my ability right now. That just so annoys me, that one. Just the fact that I can't do anything with it. It's like, wow, great. I love it. Ooh, please don't take out that fortress, because that's going to be very annoying. That'll be so annoying if it does. We're only going to be able to find out once we see if it gets garrisoned. Once it gets garrisoned, that's going to be either game over or we're in okay. So we'll find out very shortly with that one. Please work. Please work. Please work. Of course, in the same regard, we need the troops there fast, and there is, of course, the trade-off of getting lots of like the harder hitting buildings is that, of course, we do need to be aware of the fact that we could. Oh, I think it's going to go and rubble my iron mines, isn't it? That's going to be annoying. It might not take out the fortress, but it's probably going to take out the iron mine. That's annoying. Well, I guess we got to kind of hope and pray a little bit here. Because, yeah, we don't want to lose the fortress. I mean, I can live with the iron mines. I'd rather I didn't lose them, but I can live with them. It's still annoying. Oh well, it's a given. It's a given. Right. Anything else that we can get out of here? Maybe. So we are going to summon in the geologists over here. One of the big things I'm looking for in this mountain range, of course, is iron and coal. Because, of course, we want coal, but really we want gold here. Now, I don't know where we're going to find gold. Hopefully we will find it soon. because, again, I need the military advantage. And that's the big thing here, is you need the military advantage over both of the Viking players so we can give them a kicking. Because we don't want to lose here. This is important. Victory is critical for us. Because without victory, we fail. I mean, duh. Kind of a given on that one, isn't it? But yes, we need better soldiers. Better soldiers is really the answer here. With better soldiers, we can reliably take on a greater number of enemies. So that's why with the fortress, when that deploys, yeah, as I said, they destroyed the mines, but I'm going to whack down a catapult. We're going to get another catapult, I think, so we can try and really ruin their day. Okay, they're already attacking. I mentioned they are already initially hostile to us, so that barracks is in trouble. However, thankfully, an officer has Putin over, and he should hopefully give me the ability to keep them at bay. Now, I'm going to have to build a catapult here, which is not a bad thing, because at least I can, again, reduce the enemy numbers without actual interaction, which means I don't run the risk of losing soldiers. And that's kind of the big thing here, is if I can avoid taking casualties, then I can use my troops to just ruin their day. And that's what I'm hoping for. I want to be able to just remove them from my way. Right, so we've got another coal mine on the go. Let's expand this way. Now, again, once we've got the catapult going, we can fling some rocks at them. In the same regard, I could just go straight in for the military invasion. But again, I'd rather soften them up and not actually deal with them in that way. Because this way, I can be lazy. Which is a great appeal to me, because I'm a lazy man. And anytime I can just cop out slightly, golden. So here come some more soldiers once again. Thankfully, they're only privates, so that's okay. We are going to build a mine here. That should be good. Our expedition has landed. Let's build it here. I think this should be okay, I guess. Right, so let's focus through on our enemies and give them a right hiding. That's what we need to do. Give them the kicking they deserve. So we're going to need some more woodcutters, we're going to need some more sawmills, we're going to need a forester eventually. But again, we are just going to start expanding as quickly as possible in this area. Because we're going to need... Okay, our expedition ship has landed. We're not settling there. Okay, they've got gold there. That's frustrating. Very annoying. How dare they have gold and I don't? It's not fair. Well, I've got a mint, but I don't have a gold mine. Oh, they're sending in another attack. These damn privates, man. They just do not let up, do they? Ugh. Thankfully, again, we've got the generals, we've got the officers in this area, so our elite troops are just going to keep whittling their numbers at bay. Because every time a soldier dies, that's 2 bits of iron they can't use again. And looking on a very attritional... Ooh, that's a very elite soldier. Oh, we're in trouble now. That barracks is probably going to get burned, and that's going to destroy our slaughterhouse, our armory. Oh, fiddlesticks. Okay, that's not good. Okay, we need... yeah, so they've got that. So we need to get in there and take it back, and fast. Okay, sending in the elite troops. And once we've sent the elite troops in, hopefully, we'll take them down and retake the building, which we are going to, because we've snuck an officer into the side there. Okay, we can burn that down. Once our officer's taken the building, which it has, we can rebuild things. Yes, we've lost some stone, but all in all, that could have definitely gone worse. Damn. I thought they weren't close enough to attack the barracks, but sadly they were. That's okay. It's okay. We'll live. Doesn't make it any better, though. It's still annoying. Right. We will persevere. Have thee no fear. We will indeed persevere. And give them a kicking. Now, we've got that catapult built now, so we just need the villager inside, and we need the stone to start being delivered, and rapidly. Because with the stone being delivered, then we can start the fun. like this, we should be able to finish off that guardhouse. That second catapult being under construction. Yeah, again, I don't think the officer's going to die to a single soldier. There we go. Go away, you little buggers. I will get my revenge. Just you watch. I mean, it's annoying, but at the end of the day, you live. You live with it. Okay. Now, we've still got the quarry just mining away up there, which is good. I'm going to need that. Ugh. I think I need to rebuild the armory there. I'd like to build some more catapults. That's going to be the big ticket item, I think. Anyway, once we've generally borne the brunt of the Reds' attack, then we can really start pressuring the enemy. We can start pushing back against them, because currently I wouldn't say that we can't fight back, but I would rather fight back when we've got the advantage. I bet you that's going to have gold in that hill, isn't it? I have no idea, though. Oh, well. Right. So we've got this nice plot of land over to the left of the map, over to the west. That's good. So, again, we're going to try pushing through the enemy. That's the important bit. Just push through and keep them at bay. Right. So we've got our bakery under construction again, just because, again, we're going to need lots of bakeries, because we need the food. Yeah, it does require us, again, to be really heavily getting more grain, but that's not a bad thing. Well, I might as well get the hunter as well, because now hunters are like the fishery building. They're a good, easy, early source, but the trouble is they're so much more finite than the fishery. The fishery seems to just last longer. But then again, that might be because it's not a visibly trackable thing. Like, you know, you can see the deer and the rabbits and things that are just like bimbling around, and they're bloody obvious. You know they're there. Whereas other things like the fish, you don't really see them, so it's kind of a bit more, I wouldn't say forgiving, but it's more of a, yeah, we don't know where they are, so it's kind of a saturation thing. Like when it comes to the mines, you don't actually see any indication of how much you actually have there. So it is a don't know, I guess. So yeah, right. So that's other harbour building there. We're going to get that one on the go, because again, that's very, very important. We need it. We need it yesterday, in fairness, as well. Now, catapult there, so that will start flinging rocks at that guardhouse, which is again very critically important for us here. Because once we can destroy the enemy's capability of having troops, we're good. Now you can see there's a bit of a bottleneck there, so I do need to get a storehouse in this general area, I think. But right now, this is not a safe location. Now this guardhouse is a risky one, because it is only a guardhouse, it only holds 3. But what I want to do with it is I want to expand slightly. I'm going to get the woodcutters, and I want to try and reduce... I need to remove their forester, because if I can use my catapults and push slowly, surely into their territory, and by capturing some with the guardhouse, I can then, hopefully, use the cleared land that the woodcutters have got through to actually give me a little bit more game power, essentially, of I can take more land. Their foresters are going to stop preventing me from getting closer. Excuse me while I juggle the tools. We need more fishing rods because we need more fishers. And we've only got one guy left in it, and I think this catapult will probably finish it off with this next shot. Beautiful. Let's see if we get a little bit more territory here. Maybe we could get a watchtower. That'd be good. Let's see if this works. Go on. I'm waiting for it. Kill them off. Kill them all off. That's what matters right now. Yeah, suffer. Suffer my wrath. For I am the walrus, fear me. I mean, I know it's not really a big thing, but hey, I'm going to say it. It's going to... For I am the walrus, goo goo goo. Fling goes the rock, and impact, here we go. So... I mean, it's working, I guess. I can't guarantee that it's working very well, but it's working. Now, this island, I have no idea what's actually down here. I'd love to know, but not a clue. But there we go. So we've now got a bit more territory. We can build another fortress. I knew we'd get some more land that way, but you can see that the land that the foresters have kind of rummaged up there, where we can't actually get in on that, which is very, very annoying. It's just all kinds of frustrating. I mean, it's understandable that why they'd build a forest there, because they want to be able to have wood. But if we can prevent them being able to grow wood, that's also very useful because it prevents their further expansion. So, yeah. Right. Questions are definitely being asked. So, the Apollo's sending out some troops. The Neptune's doing, well, the Neptune's doing its own thing, really. Right. What are we going to try next? Well, I'm going to get some rolling pins, please. Okay, no more stone. Good. So we've now cleared out this large, lovely area. So that works beautifully now. We're going to have to keep trying with that one. Because, you know, we need that land. We need it there. It's just duh. I mean, again, there's not much else we can do with it, but it's what we need. Again, we've got a nice ability to expand further into their territory available here for us. Once we can get into their territory by utilising these fortresses, we'll have two very large, very well, not really well trained, but well numbered areas that we can launch our attacks from. And that's going to be the biggest component for us here, is we need to be able to use just greater numbers of powerful soldiers. Now we've got that barracks being built down there, and that's hopefully going to be useful. Ah, excellent. So we've run out of stone on that one, which is fine, because that now helps us clear out this nice bit of land that we could build some more farms on, or other general infrastructure that is useful. Yes, I wouldn't build much in the way of... I'm not going to build a smelter over here. I think that would be a very foolish endeavour, because it's a bit too far away from the main area that we're going to be working with. But farms, that we can definitely deal with here. I think that would be the most sensible things to start building over here. Because otherwise we've got nothing else that we can build here. Which, you know, that's a thing. Right. Now, again, they've got a very hefty attack coming my way, and that's a little unnerving, because those are some elite troops there. I've only got sergeants as my best troop there. I think that fortress is going to fall nuts. Okay, that's really not good. Oh, unless somehow we're lucky. The worst part is, every time we get attacked, we get a "we are under attack" notification. That doesn't fill me with confidence, as I'm sure you can imagine. Because it's like, oh no, I know it's all going to end very poorly. So can we not have that bad stuff happen to us, please? That'd be really nice. Oh, come on, fortress, please. Come on, just random soldiers. It's not going to happen, because that's a general. We killed him. How? How did we kill him? Oh my goodness gracious me, that's amazing. Now I know, again, I'm trying to use these as a bit of a walkthrough playthrough there, but that was just the sheerest amount of fluke I did not expect. I'm glad of it. So this island here, I think we are south of, well, we're really south and east of some of the Viking soldiers, like one of the factions. It might be yellows actually that we're nearer here. Either way, we're close to something here, so that's kind of good, and that's very important. Now we're going to get an iron smelter, so we're going to need another crucible, I think. But we're going to use the iron smelter on the second island, because that second island will be a, well, as long as I can make it self-sufficient, then we can use it as a launch point for iron production. And again, we could try and train troops there. We could just try and ship out the gear. And that's the other problem is, again, if I had a bit more control about exporting items from the territories I control, it would be a hell of a lot easier, but we just don't. And that's the only big disappointing thing I would genuinely say about this game is it does something very cleverly by adding the boats. It just doesn't work as well as one would like. But hey, it works. Badly, but it works. Right, so we've got some more land here, some more mountains. Let's go and investigate the snot out of those, shall we? I hope that we've got some large quantities of very helpful, useful resources up here. So iron, gold. I mean, even stone wouldn't be bad, but we've got a lot of stone deposits on the ground as it is. But at the same time, I'm never going to be too upset about extra stone. Which again, is something I used to be. Not really was upset about, but it's something I didn't really rate as highly as I probably should have really thought about. But hey, that is the way of the world, isn't it? Right. Metalworks. You need more governments, don't you, my friend? That's fine. Okay, military building occupied. So we've now got our fortress all garrisoned. I don't think that we've got enough troops, so we do really need more iron and more beer on production right now. And that's okay. But it is a concern that I have right now that we don't have that. So, I wonder if there's anything that we can do to allay that concern that I currently have relating to a lack of soldiers. Because a lack of soldiers is, well, conducive to losing, unfortunately. And that ain't great. Okay, so we're getting attacked again by more elite troops, so I have a feeling that that woodcutter is going to get burned. Because I don't think our soldier is going to be able to survive this one. Oh, definitely not. Yeah, we're under attack. Yeah. Damn. Okay, well, the catapult is going to reduce it to rubble, though. No. I mean, it worked. It wasn't what I expected, and it wasn't what I was anticipating. So we do, again, we need better soldiers. This is the big problem I've got, is my soldiers are a bit weak right now. So fingers crossed we can get something a little bit better? Maybe. That's the big one. We need some better soldiers. We need more gold. How we're going to manage that, I do not know. Not at this point, I don't know. Hopefully. So all my fingers crossed. Anyway, let's see what we can kind of manage here. I mean, again, I've got to try and figure out what's the best plan of action against all of our foes. I mean, the two of them. But it's still something. So we can see that we do have granite. That's nice. And again, with more stone, we're going to keep the catapults going and keeping the bombardments happening. So that watchtower's only got one guy in it. So that's an interesting location for us to try and have some shenanigans with. Because again, we're going to keep the shenanigans going. Keep the shenanigans up. And that's what concerns me, though. It's just generally, how are we going to manage this? Okay, so we need a fortress. That's very important here, I think. And what are we going to do otherwise? Well, it doesn't really hugely matter. So hopefully the quarry will be sorted out soon, so we can start getting stone on this island, which then again means that we will be able to work our way through. That's the important bit. Once we've got the quarry on the go, we can use that to our big advantage. And that's probably the best thing we can hope for at this point. Is that small island starts really producing iron and gold for us. So, unfortunately, as I said, the ships are the weak point of the entire trade system we've kind of got. Unlike other games like, I'm thinking of like the Anno series of games, actually, where you've got a little bit more control over the boats. And the trouble is, though, as well, when it comes to the older games that I remember as a kid, there are a number of games in those sorts of, like, the series of games that I remember. So, for example, I played this first, I didn't play the original. My brother played the original because it was installed by floppy disk back in the day when those were still things. But because of that, there are a couple of games that I've played that I never played the precursors to, so I don't really know about as much about them as I kind of would like. One of those is a good example is the Battle Isle series. Now, again, they are a series of games that I would also like to do, but these are by the same games company as Settlers, actually, bluebyte. And I think they would be another interesting one because they are fiendishly difficult. So if I do record them, it's probably going to be me struggling to play them because they're so hard. Might also be because I'm terrible at them, but doesn't mean I don't enjoy them, which is a strange thing to enjoy something you're bad at. Oh well. I mean, I can always pull the old illustrious millennial trope and just be like, well, that's life, isn't it? Bad at it, but I enjoy it. Right. So, let's hope we get something else down here. That would be good. Something good, please, guys. Need something. Right, so we are going to build a fortress, and fingers crossed, once that fortress is built and ready, we can use what is within to try and exert more control and pressure on the enemy. Again, what we'll also try and do is use catapults to whittle their numbers down, because it does look like I've got a bit of a deficit in soldier numbers, so I do have a bit of a problem. So I need to work on that, as I'm sure you can imagine, because without a good number of soldiers, we are starved. So let's hope that we can get some more on the go. The question then comes, what can I get? Because again, we need more iron, we're going to need coal, and the trouble is they keep rubbling my iron and coal mines by either destroying the buildings nearby or just generally being annoying. Which is fine, it doesn't mean it's not annoying though. Right, so that bloody harbour is completely useless. It's very annoying when you end up with a useless harbour like that. It makes me sad. Now, the woodcutter again, as I mentioned, we need to clear out the land so the enemy, their foresters, can stop being annoying and blocking my ability to mess with the enemy. Which, it's a thing. And they are going to do that because they're very irritating. But that doesn't mean it's not a possible victory. So, that barracks over there is a very, very tempting target. I think that's the big thing, is some of the buildings they've got are very tempting targets right about now, because they are, in principle, quite easy for us to attack. And that's kind of good. But, with a big buttery biscuit base here, how are we going to do this? We're building 2 more fortresses, and we do have a distinct lack of troops. So we need more. We also need a hunting. That's a lot of rabbits. Like a lot of rabbits, in fact. An alarming amount of rabbits. Myxomatosis everywhere. Okay. Anyway. I mean, myxomatosis wouldn't be a thing in this game because it's set in the past. And myxomatosis is a man-made creation. Is it? I'll have to Google that. Google food and find out if I'm talking out my posterior again. Okay, we found some coal. I mean, duh. Kind of knew what was there, so that's fine. Okay, woodcutter is slowly working its way through this area. We haven't saved for 30 minutes, that's fine. Now again, this is not a game that I have tended to sit down and just hardcore back-to-back play as much as other games. At the moment, I'm not taking a break in my playthrough, but that doesn't mean that I could sit down and just solidly play for 6-7 hours. Like with the mission where we fought against the Japanese, I did do that in 3 stints because that was just too long. Also because it was kind of mind-numbing dealing with that large wall of rock that we had to mine our way through. Oh no, we're in trouble. Here comes their attack. Oh, fiddlesticks and bunkum. Okay, so our fortress has taken down a bit of that land, but they are going to take that guardhouse from me. The trouble is, with that guardhouse, it severs the connection that we've got, and that's the biggest irritation I've got now, is the connection is severed. It's not going to kill me off, but I am going to have to take it back. And I'm going to send 3 very elite soldiers over. Whether my men are good enough to defeat them... Oh, nutbags. That was a poorly timed choice on my part, wasn't it? Well, I've taken the guardhouse back. Now to try and take the fortress back. Do I just launch the attack straight from the guardhouse? Maybe. Ah, fiddlesticks. Okay, well, they did kill one of my elite soldiers, which is a shame. Okay. Let's try and do a little bit better with this next attack, shall we? We need to get rid of them somehow. Right, the hunter being unoccupied, not really the end of the world, but we need bows, apparently. We also just need a hunter to come over to this island. Again, it's going to produce food, and the food production is important because then we can then start really utilising the mines. And that's the big point here, is we need to be able to really, really use the mines better. Okay. Big questions are going to have to be had, methinks. Now. Okay, now the granite mines, again, we're going to try and get as much out of them as possible. Because although, yes, a granite mine isn't the be-all and end-all, but it will give me an additional supply of stone, which I'm going to keep using to try and catapult their buildings down. And that is a very important way for us to, again, whittle them down. I might even build a metalworks here, because we need a toolmaker, but I haven't got any extra tongs. Maybe is very much the operative word here. Because again, I typically only build one metalworks, because again, I don't need multiple usually. But again, it might be the case that we really, really do. We will find out very shortly. Right. Difficulty arises here. Because, of course, once again, we want to try and drive home to our enemies that they need to die and leave us alone. Okay. We've got a lot more land here. Now, our fortress is reclaimed. But I'm going to build catapults, and we're going to catapult our enemies dead. Because, again, that seems to be the most sensible way of dealing with them. So we don't have to actually deal with them. They just die. And, okay, yes, it is a use of stone. That's not a bad thing. Right. Get rid of these. And keep the enemy on the back foot. Okay, so we've got something else here. Some coal here. It's a very small little bit. I might need to get a quick lumberjack in there just to clear it out. You know. Oh, yeah, okay, I can still get a mine on there, and they do harvest from an area around them. It's not like they can't get full access, but it's I'd rather have. Okay, so we have got rid of their forestry slightly here, which is good. So those foresters aren't going to be eternally infernally annoying. That doesn't mean it's a good start. Well, a good start, sorry, a definitive end to this bit. So we need a saw over here, by the looks of things. Let's get a scout out over here. That would be good. Let's see. We still have the scythe over here. We haven't had the farmer. That's annoying. Also, the way that you can export, really, like you tell certain members of certain professions to go and do things, it works-ish. It's hard to get them to actually do exactly what you need. Now, we're building more catapults. Now, once we clear out this wooded area here, we're going to build some more catapults down there. We're going to get rid of them. Now, we've got a big size of country, but look at our military strength. It is low in comparison. So this is a game where I'm trying to be very cagey. I haven't launched an attack because I genuinely don't think that we have the military capability of actually winning an attack. We need more power. That's the big issue. Not impossible, but it is the issue that we're currently having. So, fingers crossed indeed. So we've got the geologists out and about, so that's lovely, and we are finding out what we've got in this general area. Again, that's nice. We've got coal, which is good, but there are still other things that we need, and that's the big problem is gold. I don't think we have any gold at all in our empire. Not right now, at least. So, desperately need to find some. Otherwise, we're stuffed. Well, that's a lie. We can catapult things to death, but there's only so much that we can do like that. Yes, it did work rather well for dealing with the Japanese, but that doesn't mean that it's the be-all, end-all answer, does it? Well, we've got another brewery on the go, which is good because we're going to need beer to train soldiers. And that's, again, really important because without that, we can't have fighters, and we need as many of them as physically possible. Right. Lots of coal here, so that's a good export, but again, it's the don't get stockpiles of it, the whole way that it works will still be a bit janky, which is a shame. I'm going to build another boat just because I can, and I'm going to keep it going. Again, I might need to get more farms thinking about it, because the general amount of wheat that we have. Finally, gold. It's not much though. I really hope there's more. Ooh, that does not give me confidence. Like, not even slightly levels of any confidence. That is alarming. Okay. Either way, we are giving you a good solid try here. Okay. Again, once more, this is a difficult part to try and figure out what the best plan of action really is. Okay, so our coal mine is exhausted. Again, that's fine. We'll live. We're going to see it as a slight annoyance anyway. That is always the case, but there's got to be a better way. Okay, gold. Not much of it though. Slight enemy attack. I mean, thankfully, it's a bit of a weak attack from the enemy. But then, oh no, is that a private? No, that's a sergeant. Oh dear. I mean, thankfully, my general should probably give me kicking. Yeah, fine, no issues there. Better paid soldiers is how you win that answer. However, we still do need to do a bit more. Okay, so we're going to get more catapults on the go, of course, because the catapult is the answer to my problem of how the hell do we deal with them right now. And a catapult here might not work. Sorry, might work. I hope it does, because goodness knows we need it to. More swords wouldn't be a bad thing. Okay, so that's a lot of troops in that watchtower. So a catapult there is very important. We might even need a second if we can get it. But the trouble is I don't want the Reds to then launch their attack. Now, the advantage that I'm trying to work for here is if I can deal with the Reds in their almost their entirety and just fully push them back, it means that when we come against the Yellows, we will be able to dedicate our entire military, not split between two adjacent enemy issues, which should hopefully, very much fingers crossed here, work in my favour. It's still a risky gambit. Thoroughly risky. Now, my woodcutters are chewing through that huge wave of trees that the enemy planted in my way. So it's very much that you guys can get stuffed, you horrible buggers. I will teach you the meaning of pain. However, we're keeping the pressure on. That's important. We just keep the pressure going. Now, I'm going to send out some more exploratory what's over here, please find out for me, guys. And again, that's very important. Because we do need to know what is about before I can just expand willy-nilly. Because without the ability to know where everything is, we are stuffed. Again, understandably, one would assume. Okay, so they're launching once again another attack. Thankfully, they are still throwing their weakest soldiers, so one would assume their stronger soldiers are actually closer to their headquarters where they initially expanded from. What this will then mean is, as they send out their weaker troops, we are maybe not dealing as much of a blow to their military strength as I would like, but we are dealing a decent blow to their military strength. And hopefully, then we can start using catapults to really make a mess of them. That's what we need. It's really what we need. It's challenging. And this is the big thing about this mission is, as I mentioned, the fact that the enemy are automatically hostile straight off the bat with no, hi there, would you like to have a go? They are just instantly hostile and instantly dangerous. And that's a problem. Like, understandably so, I think. Particularly for just generally how this game works. The enemy is there, they're being hostile, and it is the first mission where this has actually happened. I don't know if that will also be the case for the next mission as well. So we'll find out when we get there. As you can tell, I'm a little bit dubious and a little bit nervous. Because I don't know. And that is what concerns me. It's the fact that I do not know what our plan of action really will be. Oh well. But that's going to be the next mission. We'll come to that when we actually play through it. Now, I think a gold mine there might work. Now, I've severed the link to the catapult from the main road because it's already dealt with everything that it can. And that's kind of how I'm going to keep trying to use the catapults. I don't want to have them full of stone just in case. Now, we're launching an attack out on this watchtower and this guardhouse. We've got lots of troops going in. How elite they are is the big question. Okay, actually not okay, so there's a sergeant in the guardhouse, but not in the watchtower. That intrigues me. Either way, that's worked out quite nicely for me on the watchtower front. I think the sergeant will, unfortunately, defeat my soldier. Which, yeah, kind of a given. However, the watchtower is important. And we've taken that guardhouse as well, because we are just trying to push in and take as much territory from them so that we can then build more catapults and really just ruin their damn day. Because they deserve to have their day ruined. Now, I don't know if that catapult can reach that watchtower. If it can, that will be perfect. Because I don't know. I think it can. I think it has been pelting. So hopefully this shot takes it down to just one soldier left. And then there's another rock coming in, which will mean we'll be able to rubble it, which is fantastic news. I said I don't know why I didn't. Whatever. I don't know why I said that I don't think it's in range when it clearly is, and I definitely built it so it would be in range. So it's one of those like, the walrus might indeed be an idiot. Anyway, It's how it goes. We are going to keep the pressure on, though. And as the pressure grows, they will collapse under it. That's the important bit here, is that we will keep the pressure on. Now, that barracks... Okay, that's just a private. So again, we've got some more elite troops coming in. We want to try and stop them from building that guardhouse. This is the cunning plan here. Again, whether it'll work... Okay, so we cut off their links. So we can now start, I think, connecting our new territory to our land. That is what we want. Because again, if we can keep them hemmed in, this might work. Okay. I'm definitely going to build a farm here because there's already the grain, so I can just instantly start harvesting what they grew. Might as well. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. Now, what I should also start building is maybe another storehouse in this area. Okay, it looks like the woodcutters can be torn down. Maybe we can build them somewhere else, like here. And we've disconnected the catapult from the main service roads to Rome, almost. Now, we've got a little bit more land that we're opening up here, so it feels a lot more sparse here because, of course, we haven't built the heavy, dense infrastructure that we have in our initial outlay, which is kind of understandable because it's the transport that will be required. Now, what can we make of this? Any more gold, please? Any more gold? It's what I need. I need it to live now. Okay, so we've got 1 billion buckets of water, apparently, for no apparent reason. Why would you transport just buckets of water? I mean, I know I built a well just because. Wells are one of those things that you're going to need the things they produce. You're going to need buckets of water for like 3 or 4 different buildings. So they're very easy to just lay down and have. So, yeah, why would I not do that? It makes perfect sense to me. But again, it is the joy. Right, here we go. Now, we're going to expand a little bit south this way by the looks of things. I think that's going to be a... Well, again, it's not a terrible thing. We're just building barracks here. I don't think the enemy is adjacent off of this island. I don't think the yellows are. So this one can be just, or barracks as a maybe guardhouses, just to expand there a bit quicker. Because that's really what it's boiling down to, is can we just expand there a bit more rapidly? Because we need the territory. And that is a big thing as well, is remembering that the guardhouse does have a larger area of effect, an area of land claiming. Of course, the bigger the building, the more the land is claimed. So it makes sense to me, again, it makes sense that that is the optimal use of it, perhaps. So let's see what we can do. And again, we're going to use woodcutters. I'm going to build some of these lookout towers because, again, they're just good generally for getting a good idea of what is somewhere. Because, again, we can then destroy the building and rebuild it elsewhere. The territory we've mapped out doesn't disappear from our knowledge, which is kind of the important thing. That makes life so much easier. And that's, again, a big, big thing for us. Being able to know exactly where things are and not actually have to worry about it. I'd much rather have that. Okay, thanks. So, we now know that this is a... I mean, it looks like there's a land bridge there that connects through. I should probably start trying to keep the map open a bit more so it gives a better idea for everyone as to what is where. That'd be the most sensible plan again, I think. So let's try doing that later on. So we've got our woodcutter again. We're going to need more axes once more. I think that's going to be a current given thing. We're always going to need more axes. Right. What we need as well is just more stuff in general. Okay, so that's going to burn because we don't need it, which is fine. And, well, expedition ship is ready to set sail, so hopefully we can find another peninsula of land that we can get a decent foothold in. Unfortunately, I don't know. The advantage we've got here, though, is we've got stone, we've got wood, and we've got people. Which means we can build catapults off of this little peninsula. So if we do find the enemy territory, we can just fling rocks at them until they go away. It might not be the most effective, and we might be in for a little bit of trouble, but it'll definitely work a little bit. And I'll take some work over no work. If you get my drift. It's very much I mean, I'd rather have something that halfway works rather than failed miserably. Ooh. We need a donkey breeder here. Or, to be fair, we could just use a ship full of donkeys coming across and actually being able to be, you know, useful. But yeah, we don't want to settle there. That would be really dumb, methinks. Being, you know, on their doorstep. We don't want that. What I'd much rather is somewhere with an island full of gold that's completely remote and isolated, but I don't think that's going to happen because the game's not going to be that nice to me, is it? The mine is exhausted. Ugh, that's a shame. Well, at least we still have some gold going. Not much, but I'll take some gold, and we've got some coal. That could be the other thing that we could run out of, is just coal. And that's, again, I've mentioned it previously, it would be nice to have something like a charcoal maker, because then we can have a permanent source and supply of coal for the entirety of the game. That would be nice. Again, it doesn't make it a guarantee. Now, this catapult here is going to have to keep flinging all the rocks at the reds, as we can see. And the money is coming in. So there's only 2 people in this watchtower. There's that barracks there. I wonder where this catapult is actually going to fling. Oh, the barracks. It missed, but if it does hit, it'll just destroy it completely because there's no extra soldiers. Ooh, heck, there might be an extra soldier, because that is a general who is going into the watchtower. Interesting. Well, that does mean that when we fling a rock at them, there's a high risk of, well, I say high risk, a high opportunity of being able to flatten a general, which is good. Because as you can probably imagine, I'd rather remove as many high-ranking individuals as possible in their territory. Because the more of their elite troops that die, the better it is for me. Because then I don't have to deal with it. If I'm very brutally honest about it all, but I don't have to deal with them because they're dead. And that's great. So, let's see if we can get anything else on this go. So again, we've got lots of stuff on this territory. We could very much use, I think, our invasion here will do us all right. And that's kind of the big thing here, is we want the invasion to go well, because we want to take the watchtowers out. Because we can claim the watchtowers, then we can claim a better control of the area. I'm going to build a harbour building here. Now, it seems a little bit weird, potentially, because I'm just settling it right in the backside of their territory. But there is a little bit of method to my madness here. Because of how generally, I would say, weak the enemy is currently, but they are not as militarily powerful right off the bat. We can start coming in on their backfield and then just really being annoying. I think that'll be funny. And that's part of it. It's just that I like being annoying. It's not quite trolling the AI, but it's a thing. I'm just going to annoy them. Right. Let's keep this pressure on this. We have a distinct need for more wood roots by the looks of things. We've got a little bit of a lumber abundance. Okay, we're going to get another quarry here, and that'll work out fine. Now, that barracks... So if I build this catapult here, it's probably going to be able to target 4 different buildings, and that's going to be great. Because if we can destroy 4 different buildings, we can really ruin their days. Because again, 1 catapult, it's 2 stone to build, 4 lumber, and, well, 4 stones, fling them away. Just ruin everyone's day. And I think that's going to be the big point here, is that catapults are a stupendously useful piece of gear, and just do not underestimate how effective a catapult can and will be, and surprisingly how important they are. Because again, when I was younger, I looked at the catapult and was like, okay, well, I see how it works, I can see the benefits of it being able to just kill off their soldiers, softening them up. But that's how I tended to use it, to soften them up for an attack, not remove their buildings entirely. Because when I realised that when you destroy their building, they don't have quite as much territory that you can then claim. And I was thinking, oh, actually, it'd be better if I could recontrol that building. But at the same time, that can mean that you extend yourself a little bit too far. So it is quite a conundrum. I'm trying to figure out what's the best policy for this. Because, of course, we want to be able to just control more. And just, again, do better. So that lookout tower there is just going to give us a bit more idea of where stuff is. Now, I'm going to build a guardhouse here. Now, it's a bit of a weird, janky route, but hey, it'll do. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we can do here. Not really, I don't think. That's fine. So we're going to build a quarry. And we're going to try and just get as much stone on this island as possible. Again, just so that we can build some more beneficial buildings, and then if we need to ship it out, we can ship it out. That's what we need, is to be able to ship out resources as we go. So, let's keep it going. And away we go. Now, we have, I wouldn't say we've won the combat over the Reds. But we've definitely got a greater amount of control over their territory than they had earlier. And that's important, because we've got that ability to keep them under pressure. And we're going to need to keep doing that. Just the pressure is going to be required. So, let's see if we can keep that pressure going, shall we? I'm going to send out some form of geologist from this harbour that's completely pointless. I just wish I could expand slightly. That's the big problem. I just can't. And it makes me really sad, because I'm stuck here going, I want to be able to do something here. Oh well. It is the way of the world, and very upsetting. All the same, though. Okay. So we're going to build more catapults. As I said, this one should be able to target 4 military buildings, which will make us very unpopular with our foes, methinks. As, of course, being able to be unpopular with our enemy is always good. But I guess it's more so that I'm just happy to remove as many of their soldiers with as minimal infrastructure requirement as possible from my side. Because, of course, if I only have to build 1 catapult, that's better. And so the yellows, they are here. They are to the north of us. Interesting. This could be a very curious pickle. I do not know what the military strength is of the yellows comparatively to the reds. And that's what slightly concerns me, is that I don't know. Obviously, I want to know, but I don't know. If you know what I mean. It's a, we've got a problem afoot. But we will figure it out, I'm sure. So, let's see if we can wrangle something silly here. Oh, we've got gold. Oh, well, I mean, it's not much, but it's some gold. Oh! The Yellow's headquarters is right there. They've just pulled in a redeployment. If I can start getting in closer, we'll be in a really good place right now. That could work out fantastically for us. We just need to push in. I think that up there, just near their headquarters, is actually the gateway as well. If it is, then we have a fantastic advantage on our hands. Because if that's the gateway, we can finish this mission. And we can finish it quickly. That is ideal for us. We want to achieve victory over this mission and get out of here. So let's see what we can have happen. Something, maybe. Now, no more stone. That's a shame, but that's also fine. Because we kind of assumed that was happening. And, well, the question really comes, what's the next best plan that we've got right now? Because we've got the log tower burned. I want to see what's in that little mountain range because, duh, that makes sense to me. So we're going to build a barracks here and expand a little bit further down this side of the mountain. I don't know what's there. Again, we just don't know. So, let's give it a go. And, okay, so that watchtower there, it's in between our two sandwiched, it's sandwiched between our two different prongs of an attack. Oh, all the wood. It's apparently not going anywhere. Thanks, Diana. It was so useful. And when we've got that area kind of covered, how we can wrangle is I'm just working out in my head what's going to be the best route for our attack possibility here. Go on, please don't find gold. I know you're going to. Oh, no more stone. I said it. Of course, gold found. Course gold found. Of bloody course. Course. Couldn't be anything bloody else, could it? Stupid bloody game. Making my life challenging and grump. Anyway. So, we're relying on the gold that's coming off of this island. Because that's really all we've got. Now, I think we need a fortress here. With a fortress, we should, fingers crossed, be able to apply as much pressure to our foe as possible. Because a fortress will mean we will have, again, greater area of control, which again, very, very important. With that great area of control, we'll also, fingers crossed, be able to send out a large military force. That's the only other consideration I've actually got right now, is the level of the military force that we can throw out is a bit tricky. We've only got a small army that we can reasonably redeploy, and the other problem, it's all very low in its rank. And our watchtower's only got, well, it's got a possibility of 6. I don't think it's anywhere near that. So, we have a slight problem. We need to figure this out. So, we will take what we can, keeping the pressure going. Now, that quarry still needs garrisoning, so that's very annoying. Again, kind of a given, but it is very annoying. I think a guardhouse down there, just to take as much territory away from the enemy as possible, is our best plan right now. Not I say from the enemy, but to take as much territory as possible and try and get a better understanding of where, what land we can take, because that's important. Yellows are there. Well, our guardhouse is slowly being built. It still needs the stone, though. Again, that's not impossible. It just requires the boats to actually bloody get there. You can tell the frustration there. But again, you get used to how frustratingly awkward the boats are in this game. As much as I love it, the boats are just the annoyance in the game. Okay, so the hunter can probably get destroyed at some point soon. It's not really doing a huge amount for me. Which is fine, it's just not doing a huge amount for me. It's just a shame. Now, I would like to know what is in these mountains. So I'm going to try and not connect to the barracks, because that's not what we want to do. Because, of course, that's not what we want to do. Now, we need more cleavers. Because that is a big thing, actually. It's just, we need things. And what I am going to try is a vain hope more than anything, is to push through with those catapults. They're still pressuring the reds, and hopefully we can also start pressuring the yellows as well with them, because catapults are our biggest answer at the moment. And that catapult needs stone. I mean, it's already catapulting its way through some buildings and just destroying them perfectly, which is great. And that's what we need. Just keep the pressure coming. And we've got a few catapults lying around, but hey, it's still working. And again, the supply routes are still doing alright. We're not, other than gold and iron, which are two I think that we're struggling with in our actual resources of. Otherwise, we're doing okay for most resources. Most. So, let's hope that we can actually kind of work this through for ourselves. I'm going to get a pig farm here because that's probably a good plan, I think. More pig farms, it's more useful. I know, more pig farm, more good. That's, you know, how that works, right? So we're doing a little bit of a redeploy as we are... The pressure from that catapult is removing their buildings on their territory. I think it's going to be only in range now of that one guardhouse. But once that one guardhouse is gone, that'll be perfect, because that'll mean that they will not have any more power over us. Which is great. Because once it's gone, it's gone. And that's ideal. I mean, to be fair, that's kind of the given, isn't it, really? Once the soldiers enter to this guardhouse from the other side, we'll be surrounding the enemy's watchtower. Now, it's not that I want to surround the watchtower as the primary focus. What I'm really hoping for is it'll give me more land, which will allow me, essentially, to build another catapult. Now, let's quickly send out some more geologists into this mountain range. And I do want to attack that tower. Definitely. But I'd like to destroy it with stones. More so, because I think that'll be a better and more conducive way of dealing with them. But I might as well try and get some of this, the grain kind of going here, because we want to, again, we want to have a better kind of overall result for grain. It makes sense to me, that is. I mean, I hope it would make sense to most people, in fairness, that we want to have more grain because that allows us to have more general resources, right? So, let's keep it going. We're going to keep the... Come on, boat. I just want some soldiers on this side so I can really ruin the Red's day. Now, yes, it is going to mean that it's going to hopefully, it is going to sort of require 3 soldiers. But that's not the end of the world. Like, 3 soldiers isn't the be-all and end-all level of troops, really. It's like a decent number, but it's not the... It's not going to kill my forces. But at the same time, we don't have that huge capability right now of actually redeploying large numbers of troops because we just don't have the troops spare. And that's the biggest problem we've kind of got right now, is we don't have the troops to redeploy. If we can get more iron and we can get more beer, then we can. Potentially. Potentially is the big operative answer there. But we'll see. We will indeed see. As we keep the pressure on. And that's all I can say, is we need to keep the pressure going. Now, that large quantity of territory that hopefully will start to come and seize. Okay, the Julius Caesar's full of troops. I wonder where they're going. Hopefully, to where I need them to, in fairness. That's what I'm really hoping. Where I would like you to go is into my lands and occupy that guard house. And also, if I can complete the connection between the two parts of my empire, that would be lovely. Again, it's a bit tricky, but it could work out nicely, I think. So, let's, fingers crossed, hope for the best, shall we? Now, that catapult is built. It's not occupied yet, but as soon as it is, that'll be a very powerful ability for us, as that'll mean that we can kind of deal with the infernal annoyance that is that watchtower. Once that's ready, the watchtower should, hopefully, very much again, hopefully here, work out nicely for us. Now, I'm using that woodcutter just because I want to clear out a little bit more land to open up our, well, territories for our control. I need, right now, a little bit more, this could sound like a really bizarre thing to kind of say, but we need a little bit more, just control. And I'm debating what other things we need. As I say control. It's a bit of a weird, nebulous concept, really. And the control really comes in. But what do we want? We want to control over the land. We want to try and remove the reds as much as possible. Because if we can remove the reds from the map, then we can redeploy our soldiers elsewhere. And that will be very helpful. Because once the soldiers get redeployed, we can then really start working on them. Because again, that's what we need. Is that redeployment of soldiers, allowing us to have a better placement of the soldiers and hopefully a better ability to deal with the yellows. And also, we can hopefully link our two territories together, which will allow for a better use of the two different territories. So if I can build a road between them, that should, fingers crossed, give me a better connection. And with that better connection, we'll be able to send troops rather than having to rely on the boats. We can actually just walk. Which I know is dumb, but there we go. So we are getting very close. I think another fortress might not be a bad idea. We should also get a lookout tower just so we know what's around and about. I think that's the best plan right now. So let's send out some geologists again. We've got loads of mines that need occupation, which is, again, fine. It's just a thing that needs to happen. Kind of annoying, though, that we still have to, wait. It's a thing. It's just a thing. I'll live. Okay. So, what we're going to do is get those lovely gold mines more on the go, hopefully. Because, again, that'll just allow us the better trained troops, just the better power. Again, that's what we need. And that lookout tower can get burned. The question is, what more do I kind of want to do here with those lookout tower opportunities? There's not really a huge amount that a lookout tower could give me now. There we go. The catapult has now rubbled that watchtower. The watchtower, the enemy one. And with that being destroyed, now we've got a lot more ability to link our halves of our territory together. So I know it was only a singular guardhouse, but again, it'll just give me a bit more control over what we need to do. Again, we're going to build those barracks. I'd like exploring this extra bit of land that we've got access to, but there's not really much in it for me right now. Because really, at the end of the day, what have we got? Just a bit more land that we can colonize. Now, we've taken over that barracks. The catapult has done well, so I think if we can... I don't know whether we should target the reds immediately or if it would be better for us to just keep the focus on the yellows. Because so what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to do a little bit of a reconnaissance attack on the guardhouse here. So let's see how well this goes for us. Here we go. Here goes our general moving on in. Oh, this might not go well. Okay, so we managed to somehow rubble... Oh, why is their general lurking on the outside? Well, we're going to defeat this private, and then... I don't think it's going to go well for my guy, so that's fine. We're going to rebuild this... We're going to connect here. We're going to build another catapult, I think. This is going to be the big question. What is going to be around here? Now, conveniently, though, we can also then connect our new harbour, because that'll be a storehouse for us, and that's important. What? He killed them? Okay, fair enough. I didn't expect that. So I guess we now have to launch an attack against it, just on its own. I mean, fine. I'll live with that. I'll definitely live with that. That's great. I'm really glad. But hey, unfortunately we do have that problem. We have to wait a moment for it to work out a little better for us. So, let's keep the pressure on. And, so I'm just going to attack that building with a couple of soldiers. I'll probably send in 3 in fairness. So if I send in 3, then we've got, again, a good level of just geezers ready. Geezers ready. I don't know what I was trying to be all ridiculous with that sort of terminology, but all the same, we're going to do it anyway. Right. So enemy building has been capped. I'm amazed that we killed them, to be fair. Did not expect it. And I'm not upset in any way, shape or form. I'm sure you can imagine. So, there is the gatehouse. It's right there. Can we get it, though? I think if we get a fortress, we might even be able to push a sneaky attack in there. Let's give this a good try. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing it's going to be a particularly conducive way of doing it, but I will try damn hard here, because I want to take over this area. And that makes sense to me. I don't know about anyone else, but it makes sense to me. Right. So the barracks we're going to construct here, just because that's entirely wood. And again, that makes sense. And we've taken on that guardhouse. Unfortunately, that is another general. But if we can defeat them somehow, I'm not expecting it to be a defeat on their front, but it could happen. If they do go down, we'll be in perfect position to attack their headquarters building. That could be very good for us. Because if we can remove their headquarters building, then, again, we've kind of worked out enough on that one for us, which is great. So, let's see what we can manage. A little bit is the best way of putting it. Wow, we can get an iron mine, though, so that's something. I mean, again, I know it's not a huge amount right now, but it's something. And we can build something. Okay, that guardhouse is still kicking, and it's only right on their territory. So if we build a catapult, we can start pinging off their other troops, which is kind of what I'm thinking is the best plan right now. Because again, if we can ping off their soldiers, hey-ho, there's very little they can do about it. And again, we've still got a little bit of a deficit when it comes to the training of our soldiers, which is a shame, I will admit. it's not really the end of the world, but it is a little bit of a shame. Okay, I think it might be a good idea, if we can, to get them on the guardhouse. Just because it makes sense to me, at least. Doesn't mean it makes sense to everyone else, but it makes sense to me. Here goes. So we are looking to try to connect ourselves with this bit of territory, which is kind of important. And if we can manage it, again, the connection is the key here. We might be in a good place. Very much fingers crossed. I'm very well aware fingers crossed here. So, I will just say this again. We've got some nice gold, which is not a huge amount of it available to us, really. But hey, I'll take anything available right now. So, once we kind of clear through these reds, it's going to be the how do we deal with the yellows? And the yellows are not really going to be as much. I don't know. They might be slightly more of a problem than the reds. It's all going to be based down on the what is their military force likely going to be, like how powerful is their military compared to my own, and that's the biggest question because we don't know. I think right now we've using the shenanigans of the catapults, we've probably got the military advantage in that regard, but it still is a I do not know what our likely success is if we just launch an attack straight out onto the yellows. That's what I'd rather not do, if I'm brutally honest. Just don't want to straight out attack the yellows. Well, I want to, because I want to get through. But it is entirely contingent on what is going to be in the way. So again, we're going to try and use the catapults as our main weapon of damage, because again, they're very handy. They do a lot for me, and I will take any benefits that I can. Which I think is a reasonable thing to want, is any bonuses I can get my hands on. So, that fishery's still unoccupied, goodness gracious, that's very frustrating. All the same, it's going nicely on this little island. Imagine if you were, like, the main island's like, oh man, it's all going a bit hairy, scary over here, and then the other island's like, yeah, it's all great, mate. There's no worries, got no problems. No worries, nothing, no issues. But oh well. Okay, so that barracks needs to be occupied. Once it's occupied, we can connect it to the mainland. Now, that catapult and that catapult, once they're constructed, then we're going to be in for a good layabout of potential power. Which is good. Good layabout, sorry, a good like structure of what we can do. Ooh, loads of gold. Lovely, we'll take that. Because gold. Duh. Gold. So, because again, we need to make sure we've got the most elite forces we can use against the yellows. I feel that we've been able to give the reds a good kicking. It's not really a guarantee that we've been able to really do a particularly good kicking, but hey, we still need more. I think that's the big question. Now, come on, fishery. Why were you 100% useless? It's a real shame, but oh well, I'll live. Again, we can do some more with it, and that's the important bit. We can keep laying down land. Now, that barracks doesn't have a lot of troops in it. Okay, so it now does. So they've just done a quick reallocation of their forces, which is fine. It's a thing. Again, it's to be expected. Now, that catapult I've got there, it's going to get its next bit of stone. Now, this should remove that bit of territory for them, which is very important again. Excellent. Look at that. Huge swath of land that's now mine. Very little they can do about it, which is good. And again, we just don't want to keep... we don't want to give them that ability to lay down the pressure that they've got. So, let's see if we can keep up that pressure on them. Because once we take over those few guardhouses and remove them from entirety, we are, well, we're kind of golden. We've won the level, essentially, at this point, which is fantastic work. Because once we've got that territory, once we've got that portal, we are winners. And we want that, because victory is what we're after. Shockingly enough, who would have guessed? That all we want is victory? Never would have guessed. Now, the Reds themselves, though, they are very much, we've given them a thorough hiding. There's very little that they kind of have left now. I'm not as concerned about them, but it might be prudent to just get rid of them. But at the same time, it might actually work out okay. I'd rather be aware of what opportunities that we have here. Because, unfortunately, if we are unlucky, we could end up foolishly messing ourselves up. But we are going to keep flinging rocks at them because that works out quite nicely for us. Right. Well, that barracks still needs a guy in there. It's very annoying. This is the problem with the boats, is again, you just don't know whether actually your soldiers are actually going to get on the boats and actually get into where you need them to go. It's very annoying. Very antagonistical. It's alright, we'll live. And hopefully everything will be sorted soon enough. Either way, so that fortress, once it's garrisoned up, hopefully we will be able to get in there and start the attack. It's all going to be based on what soldiers are going to move to that building. What quality of soldiers, how powerful they'll be, and you know, all that jazz. It's very much for I don't know what the opportunity and possibility of our soldiers is going to be. Oh, the Julius Caesar seems to have a guy in it, but it's not really doing anything. Very annoying. Could you please do something, Julius Caesar? The boat, not Julius Caesar himself. Great. We're getting there again, but it's still taking its sweet bloody time. Right. I think it'd be a good idea for me to take out that barracks, but also I could take out their headquarters. Both are good. Once we take them out either way, they're, again, a bit stuffed. That's what we need, is them to be dead. Okay, so we're going to go straight for their fortress. I think that would be a kind of a good place to go for, don't you? I mean, I think it'll be a good place. Okay, so we're going to start off with their basic soldiers, which is, again, the way it always is. So we've got the basic troops. And then in a bit we'll have the slightly more elite troops. Okay, so we've got their sergeant now. It's fine. Not great again, is it? Okay, so we've now got a general outside of their headquarters. So that general is, well, he's killed one of my guys. That's fine, because I think we've kind of got him sorted now. Let's see. I think we should start our attack against the yellows as soon as the red headquarters falls. Because once that falls, we're kind of golden on that side of the map anyway. One would kind of assume. We'll see. We will see, though. There we go. So there's the red headquarters down. We just need to destroy that one barracks, I think, and then that will give us full control over this part of the island. And this now is causing a mass redeployment of all of our troops. This is the thing I was really waiting for. The redeployment of the soldiers means that now we can move the troops away from the territory of the Reds, and this is why I wanted to destroy the Reds in their entirety. Because once the entirety of their army is gone, we can now reliably send all of our troops over to the Yellows to deal with them. And now that fortress that we've got on the Yellow territory edge should, fingers crossed, be able to be fully garrisoned with very elite troops. That's really what we need. Because that's, you know, the big thing that we kind of got going here. Is the more elite troops we can throw out, the better. Now that's now got no stone, we can burn it to the ground. That's hunky bloody dory, nobody minds. And let's keep it going. Now, coal found. Alright, that's fine. We'll find coal, and it's very useful. So, the Reds are goners. We've got a barracks with a guy in it, so yeah, we just need to get rid of them. Oh, okay, I forgot they have these couple of guardhouses here, which we could get rid of. That wouldn't be impossible. So we're just sending a couple of basic privates in. And we'll send out a couple more elite troops there. Yeah, okay, I probably should be sending out all the elite troops I've physically got. But iron and copper, sorry, I wanted to say iron and coal. But again, so they've got a bit of an interesting bottleneck here, because if we can destroy that barracks with that catapult, that should sever their connection, their artery of... essentially their connection to the headquarters, which will sever their ability to actually send things back and forth. And that's quite a big impact on our enemies. So, hopefully we can wrangle that. That is very much what I would like to do. Just ruin their days, please. Because I'm all about just ruining people's days. Mostly their afternoons, but I'll ruin their day as well. Okay, so... Well, it's definitely something. I'll say that much. Okay, so we've got the guardhouses sorted now. That's fine. Does it give us any links? That's the question. I don't think it does. Who next? Well, it does allow us to connect these random scraggly bits of territory, which now means our soldiers should hopefully be able to walk through the territory all the way to the fortress now, as we redeploy the armies that you were fighting against the Reds, now to face off against the Yellows. Once this redeployment occurs, we can then move in and thoroughly ruin what little territory the Yellows have. Now, it does look like that singular barracks has probably got a slightly more elite soldier in it. So, can I attack it with a single elite guy? Maybe. I could also just try and catapult them, which also would be funny. Maybe not the most effective, but I could certainly try. Okay, so you don't need any more money. You're kind of good. Please give me the troop redeployments. This is what we need. We need the redeployments of the soldiers. Once that's been done, then we can actively do a bit more work. As I mentioned, we need to make sure that this building falls, because it's the last bit of land they've got. They do have an active sawmill, so at least they could build a barracks, I guess, from here, but that's not exactly the worst thing in the world for them. I don't have to worry too much about that. But I do want to destroy it. But hey, it's still trying to figure out what the best plan of action is right now. Either way, we are going to go and take on the Yellows in but a moment. Once the Yellows are taken off, we have achieved victory. So, mission complete. So that's kind of the big bit that we've got going on now. Because if we can take on the enemy and remove them, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Is kind of all I can say there. And fingers crossed we can kind of work out what we need to do with them. I'm still debating what the next best plan actually is, though. That's the big problem, is I don't really know what a good idea is for me right now. Okay, we're under attack. Oh, they've got a lot of elite troops here. Okay, yes, so this is going to be a little tricky. So we've lost that building, so I think we're going to have to build a catapult of some description, aren't we? That's going to be the big thing right now. We need catapults, and we need them fast. Because with catapults, we can at least control the ground. Unfortunately, they are unscathed by my fighting against the Reds. That's the worst part, is the Yellows are unbothered by the damage I've done to their erstwhile ally. And that's a problem. Because, of course, we need to be able to deal with them. And without... No, I was going to say proper care and attention. We are not going to be able to defeat them. So, let's see if we can gear up a better attack against them, shall we? So I'm just going to try and build a few more crucibles, just to, err on the side of caution for things, for future-proofing myself. And I'm just going to launch as big an attack as I can. Now, I will admit there's a slight skip there, because unfortunately a little bit of the video did get cut, but it was just where I pressed up into their territory. So, nothing major loss there. So we're going to send all of our troops over. We're going to go and take over this guardhouse. I think once we take the guardhouse, that should give us the territorial combination over this area. So, our soldiers are moving in. Our general is fighting one-on-one against one of theirs. But I say one-on-one. He's got friends. Victory is ours. So we have now completed Chapter 6 of our playthrough of the Settlers 2 Gold Edition. If you have enjoyed, please do give us a like, share, and subscribe. And hopefully you'll catch me again for next Mission 7 of the Settlers 2 Gold Edition on Nostalgia Sundays.